Oh man, this is it. The finale of Ratchet and Kim Possible. Another Sitch in time. This is it, everybody. The final video of the book. Oh man, I have been waiting a long time to reach this part. You thought it'd be over after the group managed to defeat Nefarious, but no! Alistair Azimuth, after realizing that Ratchet did not want to bring back the Lombaxes, has completely lost his mind! And now it's an epic battle to save the universe! Oh my gosh! I am so excited about this! Alright, no more delays! Let's get started on this! Guest narrator! Are you ready?
As ready as I will ever be. I could not wait to reach this part.
Alright, guy, do it!
Very well then. I would be very happy to. Ratchet went on to give chase. As he did, Azimuth made every attempt he could to stop him. They also conversed with each other along the way.
I'm sorry, Ratchet! I'd come too far to fail now! General, what are you doing? Correcting a mistake! The Lombaxes are coming home, with or without you! Without your help!
He bombed rails and ramps, making every stride to derail Ratchet's advances, but the young Lombax was always quick on his feet. It would have taken a lot more than just a few bombs to stop him.
General, you have to stop this! You can't change the past!
Can't? Ha! Never could let go of consequence, can you?
General, please!
I can't let you get in the way!
Ratchet, we cannot let him touch that lever. Ratchet chased after Azimuth all the way into the chamber. At that time, Kim regained consciousness. She lifted herself up as she held her head, cringing. She then looked up and noticed Azimuth entering the chamber. An extremely tense look appeared on her face.
Azimuth!
As Azimuth entered the chamber, he made his way towards the lever. Sigmund attempted to stop him. He put up a good fight, but was knocked out of the way. Azimuth then went back for the lever and pulled it all the way to the left. Time shift initiated. Ratchet arrived within the chamber, but it was already too late. The lever was encased in its shell and descended. Azimuth stood before him, still greatly furious. From there, they fought each other. It was arguably the most difficult fight that Ratchet ever had to undertake, as it was very disheartening for him. Azimuth shouted at him, angered by his supposed change of heart and not agreeing to help him change the past. He was saying all sorts of terrible things to Ratchet. His words were perhaps more devastating to the young Lombax than his attacks. As they fought, the entire place was falling into disarray from their fight. That, as well as the incredibly unstable practicality of the chamber's main controls. Everything around them was being affected, and gradually the visual effects began to suffice. A little afterwards, they stopped for a bit to catch their breaths.
General, please! You have to stop this! You don't know what you're doing!
Too late, Ratchet! I've made up my mind! This needs to be done! And if you're not with me, then I must end you!
He was about to strike again, but then Kim arrived and slammed him down. She was indeed furious. Ratchet was elated to see her again.
Kim!
She looked at Ratchet and smiled. Just then, Azimuth knocked her back. She fell to the ground.
No! I never liked you, girl! Ever since we started this, you have been nothing but a hindrance and an annoyance! You've held us back far too many times! Don't say that about her! None of that is true! She's always been helpful! She's been more than capable of aiding us! Always has! She's the most amazing girl I've ever known! She's strong! She can handle any impossible situation! She's very brave and wonderful, and I don't say it!
He hesitated for a bit. I love her.
I told you not to say it! No, I do!
He then looked towards Kim. She looked back towards him as well. They both had the same sad look in their eyes. Kimberly. There was a slight change in her face. She was indeed emotional as well.
I love you too, Ratchet!
Soon enough, he ran towards her. As he approached her, they grabbed onto each other, and they kissed. It was truly a wonderful moment. Clank and Rufus smiled as they observed this, but Ratchet, Azmith, was deeply enraged. As they pulled back, they looked into each other's eyes.
Took you long enough.
Same to you. Azmith's rage intensified. He was pushed beyond his breaking point.
Disgusting! You are a disgrace to our kind for becoming infatuated with that human! It is apparent that you are beyond saving. If things continue this way, once I change the past, I'll make certain that you and that girl never meet.
I won't let that happen, Azmith.
Me neither.
And so the battle continued on. This time Kim was helping with the fight. She fought really hard against Azmith, striking harder blows than Ratchet. She seemed to have a personal vendetta against him. Given that he had belittled her time and again, it really was no surprise. The battle continued on. As it did, the condition of the place grew worse, but they did not stop. Throughout the fight, Azmith had shown to be a very strong and capable fighter, as he had many years of experience under his belt, but he was able to endure for only so long against the combined efforts and strengths of Kim and Ratchet. They were eventually able to subdue him. The lever ascended. Kim and Ratchet ran towards it and attempted to pull it back up, but it broke off and there was no way to stop the time shift.
That's not good.
The machine continued to malfunction. As a beam of energy shot out from the lever and directly above it, the condition of the place continued to worsen.
What's going on? Why isn't it working? It's what we've been trying to tell you, Azmith. The clock is not a time machine. It was not made to alter time. Only keep it.
Azmith was devastated. No. You mean there really wasn't a way to fix the past? Or bring back your parents?
No, there isn't! And now look what you've done! You've been consumed by your obsession with fixing your mistake and bringing back the Lombaxes so much that you've tossed aside reason and logic. You've been blind to what you have become. You've disregarded all those around you and the consequences to your impulsive actions. You attempted to make another mistake for the same reason why you made the last one. Because you thought that it was the right thing to do. Your mistakes have only made you worse.
You're right. About everything. About me. I was blind. I failed to see everything in front of me for what it really is. Including you, young lady. But not anymore. He made his way towards the master control.
Alistair, what are you doing? Something that needs to be done.
He got up to the control switch. He then took one more look towards Kim as she stood near Ratchet.
Kimberly Possible! Take good care of Ratchet! Always look after him!
Kim glanced back towards him with a sad look in her eyes.
You know I will.
He smiled at her and then shoved his Omni-wrench into the lever slot. He pushed onto it. Alistair, no! Before Ratchet could do anything, Kim grabbed him and held him close.
Ratchet, there's nothing you can do.
Azimuth continued to push on his Omni-wrench. You were right all along, Kaden. The boy needed to make his own choices, outside the influence of our people. That girl has made him the happiest he has ever been. I know you would have been proud of him, as am I. Azimuth managed to switch off the machine. From there, a massive surge of energy flowed intensely from the switch as Ratchet, Kim, and Clank leapt away from it. All was calm. The pandemonium subsided. Kim and Ratchet held on to each other as they lied on the floor. They looked up and were both shocked by what they saw. Alistair was lying on the floor near the master switch, lifeless.
Oh no.
They walked up to him.
Azimuth.
Clank went to check on him. He shook his head, saddened. Ratchet looked over towards Azimuth's pocket watch near his body and picked it up. He looked into it and saw the picture of his father and Azimuth. He did a brave thing. You should be proud of him. They stood by for a bit. Ratchet sulked. I will give you both some space. Clank walked off.
Yeah, perhaps I should also...
She was about to walk away, but then he very quickly grabbed her wrist. Kimberly, wait! She looked back towards him as he looked at her. Stay with me. Please. She continued looking towards him. She bent down and they both embraced. Much time later, the clock was being fixed up by Ratchet and the Zoni that he had collected. Kim sat down on a bench, drinking an unusual liquid of sorts as Sigmund stood near her. There you go, Miss Possible. This quantum removal serum should purge your body of all those temporal after effects.
Thanks, Sigmund. I can already feel my head clearing up. This should put a stop to all those headache attacks.
I'm certain your friend will also feel better once he starts taking the serum.
So am I. I just hope that he is able to hold it down.
So do I. I just can't believe that both you and your friend have traveled through time before.
Me neither. The whole thing was really strange. And with how messed up it was, no wonder why I couldn't remember it. I'm just glad that things are back to the way they're supposed to be. I hope I never have to experience anything like that ever again.
Now that we've taken care of everything, there's only one more thing to fix. He inserted the plug that was removed by Lawrence earlier, restoring the holographic image of Orvis. Timekeeper restored. I'll leave you two alone. Let's go, Kimberly. He walked out. Kim got up and went towards him. They held each other's hands as they walked out. They stopped as Ratchet looked back towards Clank. Take care of yourself, pal. He then proceeded back towards the ship with Kim. Rufus, standing on Kim's shoulder, looked back towards Clank and waved goodbye. Clank went on to continue Orvis's recording, but then stopped it shortly afterwards. I cannot stay. I am sorry, but discovering my family has made me realize that I cannot leave Ratchet, not until he finds his own. I hope you understand. You're leaving? Sigmund went on to check on himself. Energy output normal, harmonic stabilizer stable. Why aren't I freaking out? Clank retrieved the chronoscepter and walked up to Sigmund with it. Perhaps you are ready to be promoted." He handed the scepter over to Sigmund.
"Senior caretaker!"
He accepted the scepter with much zeal.
"Whoopee! Thank you, sir."
"Take care, Sigmund." Clank ran off after Ratchet and Kim. Sigmund continued the recording. From it, Orvis revealed that he is happy with Clank making his own decisions regardless of whether or not he were to accept his position as the new caretaker in Orvis's stead. Ratchet was just about ready to take off. He was sulking over the thought of leaving Clank behind. Kim placed her hand on his shoulder. He looked back at her as she smiled at him to reassure him. He smiled at her, but only a little. Rufus was seen on Kim's shoulder, looking at Ratchet as well. Clank ran back towards the ship and jumped in just as it was about to close. He sat down right next to Kim. She and Ratchet took notice of Clank immediately. They were overjoyed that he decided to stay with them. Rufus was especially jubilant to see him, and with that, they took off and left the clock.
Yeah, that final message from Orvis went a little something like this.
The clock, much like time itself, is a gift, and not to be tampered with. But like any father, my only wish is that my son does that which makes him feel whole. You are an intelligent and logical being, Clank. But intelligence and logic would have been wasted gifts without honor and loyalty. I am proud to see you came into those on your own. So, should the clock be too small for your plans, I pray the cosmos light the way towards a future you yourself design. And remember, the universe has a wonderful sense of humor. The trick is learning how to take a joke.
That was such a good ending to the game. But my story does not end there. There's still a bit more left. Shall we continue, guest narrator?
Yes, let's finish this.
All right, let's go.
Later on that day, everyone met back within the ISSF. There they sat down at a circular table within the dining room of the space station's main apartment. They were enjoying a delicious pallid-colored soup. Some of them were eating it awfully fast, while others took their time. Ratchet, however, had barely eaten his. He was just stirring his spoon around in the soup as he was soaking. Ron was happily eating it up. He seemed to be enjoying it very much.
That sure was some good soup, Mrs. P. Man, it feels so good to be eating again. Well, I thought I would start you off with making you a clear soup so that it would be easy on your stomach. Plus, having it be made with vegetables would really help to add some nutrients back into your body. I have to say, it was pretty genius of you to make a vegetable consomme, considering that Ron won't eat any meat at the moment, in addition to the nutrients that he was deprived of for too long. Well, that was the general idea, Wade.
I have to say, you really outdone yourself again, Dr. Possible. Another delectable meal, and no junk food in sight.
I'm so glad it's to your liking, Dr. Possible.
She kissed her husband on the cheek.
Mom, can we have some more consomme, please? Yeah, this is really good. Certainly, boys. I've made more than enough for everyone.
She got up and took both of her son's bowls, then walked up with them. So, Clank, I can't even begin to tell you how great it is to have you back here with us. I am glad to be back here with everyone, Dr. Possible. Although I have been aware of how long I was gone, I am sorry to have worried all of you. Hey, don't worry about it, buddy. It's not like you did it to us on purpose. We're just thankful that nothing really terrible happened to you. We missed you, that's all. Yes, I am grateful to hear that from you, Ron. Although I cannot help but feel especially remorseful for Rufus being involved in this. You don't have to worry about that either. I'm just happy to have my little buddy back. Yeah! Both of my little buddies. Clegg smiled at him. Oh, without a doubt. Things just weren't the same without either of you around. It's good to have everything back to normal. Mrs. Possible returned with some more soup for the boys. She then looked towards Ratchet, concerned for him. Ratchet, you barely touched your soup. Is it not to your liking? Huh? Oh no, Mrs. Possible. Your vegetable consomme is delicious and very healthy too. It's just... His eyelids dropped a little more. A lot has happened to you. That would be putting it very lightly, man. I went from trying to locate Clank to finding another Lombax and then losing him. Don't get me wrong, I'm happy to have Clank back, but losing Alistair, it hurts. Yes, I remember hearing about this Alistair Asmith. He didn't seem like a nice guy, what with him belittling my Kimmy Cub and all that. But he was a Lombax, perhaps the only member of your race that you were able to find. I take it that meant a lot to you. Yes, it did. That guy must have been the closest thing to family that you've ever had. Not to mention that he knew your father. We are terribly sorry for your loss, Ratchet. Ratchet continued to sulk. Mrs. Possible walked up to him. She placed her hand behind him. You know, if it makes you feel any better, we just want to let you know that you will always have a family amongst us. It may not be the same as having a Lombax family, but I only hope that it at least means something to you. He looked at everyone as they looked back at him and smiled. A tiny smile grew on his face. It's good enough. At least I know that I'll never be completely alone. Besides, the Lombaxes shouldn't be the only kinds of people that are important to me. He looked to his left as he smiled a bit more. And there are some that mean a lot more than that. Kim smiled as she looked back towards him. Thanks, guys. Everyone around him seemed very happy indeed. He then turned his gaze towards Ron. A sly sneer appeared on his face. Hey, Ron, once you start feeling better, maybe we can go out for some nachos. Ratchet! You know that I can't even think about eating meat after what I've been through? Yeah, I know. I thought I might get back at you for that one time when you kept asking for them. He continued laughing as Ron glanced back towards him in an irritated manner. Kim laughed as well. They both got up and walked towards the living room together. Everyone watched as they did. Well, that wasn't very nice. Huh. His mood seemed to have changed awfully fast. He's already starting to feel better. Now that you mention it, he did seem to cheer up a bit. I'll say, it does feel good to see that young Lombax smile again. Yeah, I agree. Ron, despite his irritation, also seemed glad to see Ratchet in a better mood. Much time later, he was still eating. He eventually finished up. I'm done! Man, that was good. Well, you sure took your time, Ron. You've spent 2 hours eating after all. Not to mention that you've had several servings. Oh, sorry that I spent so long eating, Mrs. P, and even eating so much for that matter. Oh, don't worry about it, Ron. Take as much time as you need and eat as much as you like. You have been suffering from an unusual stomachache after all. That should be had. She removed Ron's bowl and walked off. I must say, I am sure glad that Sigmund guy to provide you and Kimmy with that serum to rid you of what it was that caused your conditions. That was awfully nice of him. Yes, he has been most helpful towards us when we were still at the Great Clock. Isn't that right, Rufus?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was really nice to get the chance to talk to him. I've learned so much about that giant mechanical marvel. It was incredible, just absolutely amazing. So, Clank, that clock really isn't really a time machine, huh? No, it is a contingency project created to maintain temporal balance within the universe in order to prevent the universe from collapsing in on itself. That's really cool. Yeah, it does sound cool. Too bad it's not a time machine, though. I know, so anticlimactic. A total bummer.
Oh well, can't win 'em all, boys. That's just how the universe turns. Besides, it's probably better for the Great Clock to not be a time machine. From what I've heard, that would be a given. Just the thought of it makes my skin crawl.
Honey!
Mrs. Possible was peering into the living room.
Over here! Come look at this!
Dr. Possible got himself up and went over to peer into the living room as well. Well, I'll be. It's about time. Wade, Ron, and Clank got themselves up and made their way towards the living room.
What is it, guys?
As soon as they looked in, they smiled.
Hey, what's going on? Let me see.
The boys cut through and looked into the living room.
Ooh, look at that. I know. Let's bug 'em.
Before the boys could rush in, Dr. Possible slammed his hand on a big red button which dropped a clear wall within the doorway. Hey boys, how about we get to work on that secret project that I've been wanting to work with you?
Oh, right, the secret project. Far out. I almost forgot about that. Hicka-bicka-boo, hoo-sha.
They did a high five with each other.
Let's go!
They ran off as Dr. Possible followed after them.
I better get going too. Got a lot of alien data to look into.
Wade walked off, as did Mrs. Possible. She then stopped and looked back.
Ron, Clank, aren't you boys coming?
In a minute, Mrs. P. Yes, we will depart from here momentarily.
Okay. Come meet with us soon.
With that, she walked off. Duly noted, Mrs. Possible. Ron and Clank continued looking into the living room. There, Ratchet and Kim sat next to each other on the sofa. They were asleep as they were leaning up on each other. They were also holding hands.
Oh man, that was a great ending. I'm finally finished with the book!
And I'm finally finished being your narrator.
Yeah, I was kinda wanting to get back to reading the story myself.
Please, by all means, go right to it. I'm exhausted.
You have no idea what I go through, Guy.
Of course I do. I live inside your head. Now can we stop talking to each other before people start thinking you're crazy?
All right. Calm down. Well, that should be it for now. And man, what a great ending. Next time, I will get started on reading the first book that I've ever started by scratch. So until next time, everybody, I will be seeing you again for book 5. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it has really come to this. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, everybody, I will be seeing you again. See ya. Any minute now.